And if we were to do one big bold thing and we knew it would succeed, what do you think would be the right play?
A big bold thing would be to again, you've got to move away from those big players. So it's
Yeah,
got
it's
to be
get an alternative to the standard model, right?
and my I had a 5-year plan. I started with carving out specialty medication. Then I was going to
Mm,
move to a pass through. Then I
okay,
was then I was gonna do the big, buy bukas and go to a web TPA or a
right. Oh, I
American
love this. Keep
or
walking us through this. Okay, so let just to pause a little bit on these because I think this is marvelous advice. So, step 1 was carve specialty drug. Is that because that only impacts, like,
correct.
1% of people? Like, it's this is
Absolutely.
not a capital D disruption, this is almost a rounding error, no one will even really know, but the
Absolutely.
dollars are still pretty big.
Yeah, the dollars are
Got it.
significant, half of your pharmacy spend, and yet it's 2% of your people. Exactly.
Okay, perfect. So that seems like a really logical first step. Huge savings, very, very small amount of people. Step 2 is a pass-through PBM.
Right. So
Is that
take
right?
all the
Okay.
rest of the drugs and go to a pass through, lowest net cost formulary, and you can do
Okay,
this through education. We
okay.
spent an inordinate amount of time educating our employees year over year at BNSF, and they could cite our 70-30 split. They knew every
Hmm.
time I got up there, every year, talk about open enrollment.
We've now carved out our PBM, and savings there, what another what's typical savings if we now move not carving out a PBM away from a carrier that's table stakes, but moving away from a big 3 to a fully pass-through model with a waste eliminating formulary.
It's like last year when we onboarded, there's a range for sure. Some had more tightly controlled formularies to start with,
Right.
but it's in the range of 15 to 25% of your pharmacy spend.
That's 22, 23% of total spend anyway. So this is it's flat trend. That's a year of flat trend, really.
Yeah,
It's awesome. Okay, so we got this big savings from the specialty drug carve out that nearly flattens trend. Next year we move to a pass-through PBM. That gets us flat trend for a year. Year 3, now it's administration. Same network, but we're going to carve out administration on medical. Is that right?
that's right. Move to an
Okay.
independent
Okay.
with the idea that you can get your data
Yeah.
and that you can work with any players you want to and get the cooperation you need, the centers of excellence, the things you want to carve out, um,
That's right.
and tightly control whether it's a cancer solution or MSK solution, whatever it is that you can, get your data and see if there is an impact. So
No, you hit all the big things. You move to the independent TPA, you get all your data, you get control over your plan design and interesting different approaches within what you can do with plan design options. You get control over all of your vendors, carve in, carve out, and the way that you structure that. And you get control over the money, right? You've now got better handle over your own checkbook so that you can have insight and kind of fiduciary oversight. Uh, and then also direct contracting is a big one where you can have more, direct arrangements. And also for whatever reason, there's usually 3 to 6% savings that just sort of falls out of air that even without any plan design changes and even without a network change, uh, we see that gets you another year of flat trend.
it does.
Okay.
There are a lot of fees built into the bukas that you don't always have visibility to. So that may be where that 3 to whatever 6% fallout is.
There's never an explanation. We've never,
Right.
there's no explanation. There's no actuarial. It's breaking the laws of physics from an actuarial standpoint, but it seems to happen with a lot of regularity. So then what happens kind of in years 4 and 5? What were you thinking there?
I think you and I have had this discussion back when you were my people's consultant. Really focus. I mean, put all your focus where your dollars are, right? MSK solutions that avoid surgery. Um,
Mhm.
cancer solutions where you're
Mhm.
sending, certainly if you have a rural population like we had at the railroad, sending them to
Yeah.
centers of excellence or option in terms of a second opinion. But putting those things in, we always put those things in as voluntary, and I always wanted to put them in as
Right.
mandatory. I
Right.
I just felt like saying, "You don't have the right to go to a butcher, end up with an infection, sorry. We're gonna make you go to a quality provider." I always want even when they were voluntary, they were incredibly successful. Year 1 or year 2, the ROI was complete cover fees. And then these people are not gonna get MRSA and be in the hospital for,
Right.
2 months at a time, so that kind of savings, cost avoidance, it's a hard argument to make, certainly with your finance people,
Right.
but there is cost avoidance when you go to quality, right? It's not
Huge.
only those side effects, but it's also just the fact that low value care is eliminated, right?
100%. And it's sad, but oftentimes the biggest ROIs we have are the hardest ones to demonstrate. There seems to be often an inverse correlation between concrete savings and magnitude.